It's a pretty nice night. Our live downtown Holiday Inn camera. A nice shot of the city lights downtown looking north towards the aquarium. You can't tell in this picture, but there are still a few clouds out there. We'll take a look at the satellite photos in just a moment. Take a look at tomorrow's forecast as well, because we have a little bit of rain and snow in the forecast for tomorrow. Not a big event, but we'll see some here and there. In the 40s right now for temperatures across most of the state. A few pockets of 30s and high elevations, but Nashville's coming in at 42. Knoxville at 47. It's 42 down in Atlanta. And right here in Chattanooga, it's 47 out at Logan Field. We have one batch of clouds that has moved through during the evening hours. Some of those clouds still overhead, so temperatures haven't cooled off a whole lot from our afternoon high. But up in Altamont, the clouds are clearing out a bit, so it's now down in the 30s there. 37, 47 here in the city, 34 in Murphy, because the clouds are just now starting to approach that area, so they cooled off quickly there. 41 up in Athens. Southwesterly winds around 7 miles an hour, and there's this batch of clouds moving through. These are pretty low clouds in the atmosphere too, and only about 4,000 or 5,000 feet, but they're now starting to clear the city just a little bit, and just edging out of Dalton, just east of Cleveland, and out towards Murphy, though, Polk County in northeast Georgia. It's cloudy right now. And but we're starting to get a little bit of clearing in the city. Clouds returning back across Middle Tennessee and the plateau, and those clouds will reach here during the overnight hours and continue to spread across the rest of the viewing area once again. So we'll have a lot of cloudiness tonight. This disturbance moving through the area, kind of rotating around a big low pressure system that's over eastern Canada right now. So this little spoke of energy, if you will, moving through, bringing us the cloud cover, maybe a few flurries by late tonight. Ahead of that system, some rain showers across parts of northern Florida and South Georgia with a lot of cloudy weather too. But we'll expect to see another disturbance moving through the day, moving through the area tomorrow rather. So by around 8 o'clock or so tomorrow morning, there will be some light snow and rain showers in the high elevations west of the city, especially west of Hamilton County along the plateau. We're not talking about a lot of accumulation here, very light stuff, but kind of a mix of snow and rain, just depending on your location. But look at how the light rain becomes a little more widespread across the area during the course of the afternoon. And we're talking about rain amounts, really light stuff here. But in some of the highest elevations west of the city along the Cumberland Plateau, and also out in the Blue Ridge during the afternoon and later in the day, the highest elevations that stay near freezing or just above freezing and don't get warm enough, we'll see just some light snow showers, and that'll continue out in the Blue Ridge during the evening. So we could see some accumulating snow in the mountains east of Hamilton County and also back to the west. But for the rest of us, especially in the valleys, we're talking about a dusting or less of snowfall, maybe just some flurries, so it's not going to be a whole lot as far as snow. But here's the latest on the rainfall amounts, maybe up to 1/10 of an inch in a few spots. And that's about it. So not a lot of rain. Snow not very impressive either. But up in parts of Grundy County and up along the Cumberland Plateau, up to western Bledsoe County as well, maybe Cagle Mountain, you could see 1/2 inch to maybe up to 1 inch in some of the highest amounts. Maybe a dusting to 1/2 inch from northern Meigs County up towards around Spring City and northern McMinn County as well. And out in the Blue Ridge Mountains of our viewing area, maybe up to 1/2 inch, maybe 1 inch in the highest spots. So not a lot of snow or rain, but we'll see some. 52, 28 the high and low temperatures today, and no precipitation at the airport. We had low 50s all across northern Alabama and North Georgia, but Fort Mountain was cooler at 43. Right around the metro area, a lot of low 50s with mid 40s in Lookout Mountain. But even north of the city, a lot of high temperatures reach the low 50s as well. 35 for the low in the city tonight. A lot of cloud cover, a few flurries possible towards daybreak. And then after that, some sprinkles and light rain in the city during the afternoon with a high of 43. And then some light rain and flurries tomorrow night with a low of 30. Your 7-day forecast, everything clears out Sunday night. So Monday through Wednesday, I should say, look dry. And we'll see highs in the 50s returning for Tuesday and Wednesday. So it does get a little warmer by the middle of the week. A little bit of rain off and on coming back later in the week as well. But just want to reiterate, this is not a major event, but there'll be maybe some minor travel issues, especially tomorrow evening in some of the highest elevations of the viewing area. Okay. But not major.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Nick.
Bet.
Well, here's a touching story to share with you. A family pet lost after a retired Albany couple's home was smashed by trees during the storm in Georgia was found, and his recovery is proving to be meaningful to more than his owner. Here's Melissa Hodges with the story.
You want to come to me?
You go see your daddy.
It's a happy reunion.
I had almost given up today.
but a resident on North Doublegate, over a mile as the crow flies from where Buddy went missing in the Quail Pine subdivision on January 10th, and not far from the area where volunteers have been combing, called Thursday morning with the good news.
I wasn't sure it was him. He was so muddy. I mean, he looked terrible.
And he's lost some weight.
A lot of weight. But Debbie says he looks normal now.
You're so happy.
Debbie Hilly is Buddy's breeder and groomer.
This is what he's supposed to look like.
He loves to eat what I eat.
Who says this piece of good news couldn't have come at a better time after Sunday's tornado ripped through her hometown in Turner County.
Neighbors that I grew up with don't have anything left, so I've been crying all week, and this is what we needed today. We needed a good day.
A good day that is putting some much needed hope in two people's hearts, both who have seen a lot of destruction this month.
We needed a good day. Yes, we did. And it's a minor victory, but it's a huge victory for Buddy and for Tommy and for me.
Quite a heartwarming story right there. Well, Atlanta Falcons fans were rocking out ahead of their team's trip to Super Bowl 51. More than 500 people packed Atlanta City Hall yesterday, dropping confetti and dancing to music from local pop stars. The ear-shattering shouts of the team's slogan, "Rise Up," rang throughout the city's political center, turning it into a tailgate party. Look at all those people right there. Now, the Falcons will face the New England Patriots in Super Bowl, which will take place on Sunday, February 5th at Energy Stadium in Houston. And Channel 3's own Paul Shaheen and Jill Jonick will be in Houston, bringing you the sights, sounds, and highlights of the Super Bowl beginning on Friday. And speaking of sports, up next, Red Bank native and former Mock Keontae Davis made his mark in the Senior Bowl today. Jill has you covered. Plus, the Mocks take on a longtime rival ETSU on the road. We have the highlights and more when we come back.
UTC was 0 for 2 on the hardwood today, something that doesn't happen very often. Both the Mocks and the Lady Mocks fell on the road to Southern Conference opponents, taking heavy hits to their SoCon standings. However, it's still January and there is plenty of basketball left to be played. Let's start with the men in Johnson City tonight, taking on longtime rival ETSU. As expected, this one was back and forth for most of the night. Justin Toyo gets the pass down low and the easy bucket for the Mocks. The forward would finish with 15 points on the night. Then DeSante Bradford with the jumper, who had a team high 19 for the Bucks. Shortly after, though, TJ Cromer drops the three to give the Bucks a 5-point lead with 8 minutes left in the first half. But then Trey McClain counters with the steal and ties it up with a slam dunk. Mocs and Bucks stayed tied at halftime 34-34. But ETSU built up a 7-point lead on back-to-back dunks with 10 minutes left in the game. Mocs answered, though, with a 9-point run, but Bradford gave his team the lead for good on a three-pointer with a minute 30 left to play as ETSU takes down Chattanooga 76-71. The ultimate dagger tonight for the Mocs was the 34 points for ETSU that came from UTC turnovers.
No, we can't turn the ball over like that and expect to win on the road. You can't do that. Not in a place like this, in a building like this, in an environment like this. You got to be sharper, crisper on offense.
We talked a lot today before the game about just no regrets. Just play hard and leave it out there. And I really thought that's what we did. I thought we played our guts out.
With the loss, the Mocs now fall to 6-3 in SoCon play, putting them in 4th place in the conference. UTC will next host UNCG this Thursday. And as I mentioned earlier, the Lady Mocs also fell on the road today, snapping their 14-game SoCon win streak. UTC came out pretty cold and struggled to get shots off, finishing 17 of 52 on the day. Lady Mocs trailed by only 2 at halftime, but the Paladins built up a big 12-point lead in the third. UTC chipped away at it, though, in the fourth. Jasmine Joyner gets a bucket. She recorded her 7th double-double of the season with 11 points and 10 rebounds. But the Lady Mocs wouldn't be able to complete the comeback and are handed their first SoCon loss this season, 65-48. They fall to the Paladins. And get this, the last time Furman beat Chattanooga was back in 2012. UTC is now tied with Mercer for first place in the league. Meanwhile, the Vols took a break from conference play today to take on Kansas State at home. Coming off their upset win over Kentucky, they kept that momentum rolling into this one. UT crashed the boards all game long. Kyle Alexander there with a putback led the way with 9 boards to go along with 8 points. Kansas State didn't make a single three the whole first half, and by the time they started hitting them in the second, Vols were too far ahead. Grant Williams with the bucket. He was 1 of 3 Vols in double digits today. Then, with 5 minutes left in the game, Lamonte Turner drives to the paint, dishes it off to Lou Evans for the slam to seal the deal. Vols go on to win it 70-58 that final. Tennessee moves to 12-9 overall and will spend the entirety of next week on the road visiting Auburn and Mississippi State. Well, the Chattanooga Mocs had their hands full today, hosting a doubleheader at home. They would end up splitting the day against SoCon opponents Campbell and Davidson. First up was the Campbell Camels, who had 3 individuals ranked in the top 20 today. UTC sophomore Alonzo Allen kicked things off with an 11-4 decision over 13th-ranked Nathan Crosser. Then it's Mocs' Chris Debian here, followed it up with this pin at 133. Campbell would end up edging the Mocs, though, 21-19 in the opener. But UTC then went on to steamroll Davidson 44-3 in the next match, improving to 25-0 all-time against the Wildcats. Up next for UTC are trips to Gardner-Webb and number 16 App State next weekend. Red Bank native and UTC All-American Keontae Davis was able to build up his NFL draft stock today, making quite the impression at Reese's Senior Bowl this afternoon. The defensive end had been practicing with the South team all week long in Mobile, Alabama, before finally taking the field today at Ladd Pebbles Stadium. Davis made his mark late in the first half by coming up with this big sack. Check it out here. He takes down C.J. Beathard from Iowa to bring up 4th down. The South would then go on to score a field goal because of it and go up 9-3. Some well-deserved TV time for the former Moc. Davis also deflected a pass later in the game that led to an interception to help seal the win for the South. Overall, great showing for the Red Bank native. All right, that's it for sports. One last look at your weather when we come back.
All right, welcome back. And Nick, nothing started yet, but maybe we might see some tomorrow, but in the higher elevations. That's what we've been talking about.
There'll be very, very little snow in any of the valleys tomorrow. Yeah. Probably just flurries for the valleys. But some high elevations could see a little bit of accumulating snow, but we're not talking big amounts here. But if you're watching us from, say, near Mont Eagle, up along the Cumberland Plateau, or east of Hamilton County, like near, say, Ducktown, down in parts of northeast Georgia, and especially north of Murphy, that's where the accumulating snow will be. Maybe ½ inch, up to an inch in a few isolated spots as well. Other than that, just cold tomorrow, 44 degrees, but we dry out for the first few days of next week, warming back to the 50s by Tuesday.
Yep, finally seeing that winter weather. We're starting to see some spring, and now it's back to winter.
Now it's like it's supposed to be this time of the year, right?
Like it's January, right? We're in January. All right, well, Gerber has a new spokesbaby for 2017. 7-month-old Riley Shines of Ohio was selected from more than 100,000 entries. The company made the announcement on Thursday.
How cute. And get this, he will receive $50,000 Gerber children wear and the opportunity to star in a future Gerber ad. Riley's mom also said the money will, of course, go into his college fund. There you go, Mom. That's what we're talking about.
There we go, the new face of Gerber right there. I feel like everyone has seen the other face for so long, you know.
Yes.
And now we've got a new fresh face, you know.
I love it.
Just as cute too.
He's earning his keep already. How about that?
That's great. Yeah. Really good stuff right there. And I was looking at something, and I think the old Gerber baby just recently turned 90 or so.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's right. That face has been on that jar for a long time.
Yes, it has. Okay, well, that's it for us, guys. Have a good night.
Hey, Katie, can you pass along a message for morning sports?
What happened? You tell her when you said you're not going to freak out.
Your mic's open, so you can
Awesome. Hey, guys. Can we please do, let's go ahead and just do C1 off the top to C6. It's a lot. Finishing with the map mocks VO.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, C1 off the top of the show to C6, finishing with the map mocks VO. UTC was 0 for 2 on the hardwood Saturday, something that doesn't happen very often. Both the Mocs and the Lady Mocs fell on the road to Southern Conference opponents, taking heavy hits to their SoCon standings. However, it's still January and there's plenty of basketball left to be played. Let's start with the men in Johnson City last night, taking on longtime rival ETSU. As expected, this one was back and forth for most of the night. Justin Toyo gets the pass down low in the easy bucket for the Mocs. The forward would finish with 15 points on the night. Then DeSante Bradford with the jumper, who had a team high 19 for the Bucks. Shortly after, TJ Cromer drops a three here to give the Bucks a 5-point lead with 8 minutes left in the first. But then Trey McClain counters with a steal and ties it up with a slam dunk. Mocs and Bucks stayed tied at halftime 34-34. But ETSU built up a 7-point lead on back-to-back dunks with about 10 minutes left in the game. And, well, Mocs answered with a 9-point run, but Bradford gave his team the lead for good on a three-pointer with a minute 30 left to play as ETSU takes down Chattanooga 76-71. The ultimate dagger for the Mocs was the 34 points for ETSU that came from UTC turnovers.
No, we can't turn the ball over like that and expect to win on the road. You can't do that. Not in a place like this, in a building like this, in an environment like this. You got to be sharper, crisper on offense.
We talked a lot today before the game about just no regrets. Just play hard and leave it out there. And I really thought that's what we did. I thought we played our guts out.
With the loss, the Mocs now fall to 6-3 in SoCon play, putting them in 4th place in the conference. UTC will next host UNCG this Thursday. And as I mentioned earlier, the Lady Mocs also fell on the road, snapping their 14-game SoCon win streak. UTC came out cold against Furman and struggled to get shots to fall, finishing 17 of 52 on the day. Lady Mocs trailed by only 2 points at halftime, but the Paladins built up a big 12-point lead in the third. UTC chipped away at it, though, in the fourth quarter. Jasmine Joyner recorded her 7th double-double of the season with 11 points and 10 rebounds. But the Lady Mocs wouldn't be able to complete the comeback and are handed their first SoCon loss this season, 65-48 to the Paladins. And get this, the last time Furman beat Chattanooga was back in 2012. UTC is now tied with Mercer for first place in the league. Meanwhile, the Vols took a break from conference play Saturday to take on Kansas State at home. Coming off their upset win over Kentucky, they kept that momentum rolling into this one. UT crashed the boards all game long. Kyle Alexander there with the putback led the way with 9 boards to go along with 8 points. Kansas State didn't make a single three the whole first half, and by the time they started hitting them in the second, the Vols were too far out in front. Grant Williams with the bucket. He was one of 3 Vols in double digits yesterday. And then with 5 minutes left in the game, Lamonte Turner drives to the paint, dishes it off to Lou Evans for the slam to seal the deal. Vols go on to win it 70-58 that final. Tennessee moves to 12-9 overall and will spend the entirety of next week on the road visiting Auburn and Mississippi State. Well, the Chattanooga Mocs had their hands full yesterday, hosting a doubleheader at home. They would end up splitting the day against SoCon opponents Campbell and Davidson. First up was the Campbell Camels, who had 3 individuals ranked in the top 20 yesterday. UTC sophomore Alonzo Allen kicked things off with an 11-4 decision over 13th-ranked Nathan Crosser. And then Mocs Chris Debian here followed it up with his pin at 133. Campbell would end up edging the Mocs, though, 21-19 in the opener. UTC, though, would then go on to steamroll Davidson 44-3 in the next match, improving to 25-0 all-time against the Wildcats. Up next for UTC are trips to Gardner Webb and number 16 App State next weekend. All right, that's it for sports. I'm Jill Jelnick. I hope you have a sweet Sunday.